Parenting in the 21st century can be an extreme challenge for most parents. The introduction of the internet, of course, has added a lot more things that we need to think about in order to help keep our kids safe. We can't discourage use of the internet anymore. It's become a reality. It's used in schools, it's used for socializing, and it's used for many, many different things. And a world of knowledge is open and available to our kids that we don't want to take that advantage away from them. So what do we do, particularly if we're not technical savvy when it comes to using the internet? Honestly, parenting is parenting, and whether it's online or offline, I think you already have the tools that you need in order to be able to parent a digital child. And what that means is you as a parent will already assess the child's activity and what it is that they're involved in and what they're doing, and assess the risks that go with that activity, and guide your child to ensure that they enjoy that activity safely. The internet's no different. Quite frankly, internet is used for social media. It's used for obtaining information, knowledge, homework, resources, banking, all kinds of things. And as your child evolves, so will their online activity. Our only job really is to know what it is that they're doing on the internet. And how do we do that? By communicating with the kids. So asking the questions, you want to use the internet, what is it you want to use it for? How will you be using it? And your child can then tell you what it is that they will be doing, the activities that they want to engage in. And I think we all know that the internet exposes our children to a tremendous amount of risk because of many things, the anonymity, the reach of the internet, and of course our children are exposed to thousands of strangers in 1 second versus one occasional stranger that they might run into in a park. We're teaching our kids that you don't engage in conversation with people you don't know. You don't arrange to have meetings with people that you don't know. So as you can see, the messages are very, very similar. It's just a different environment that they're actually engaging in, but the activities are the same. The internet is everywhere. You can take away one computer, but it's on 15 different devices, whether it be in your home, your school, your library. So in order to keep the kids safe, taking it away isn't really an option because you can't take it away everywhere. As a parent, it's very easy to be able to get involved in your kids' lives in terms of their online activity if we just take the time to ask the questions and take the time to translate that into everyday parenting messages that we already communicate, and to take all of the growth of your child into consideration as their internet activity increases, and understand what it is that they're doing, who they're doing it with, and set some boundaries in terms of time frames. I encourage each parent to take some time to sit down with their kids and get engaged and ask the questions. Do you use the internet, and what is it that you're using it for, and how can I help you ensure that you remain safe and that your information remains protected while you're online?
As parents, it's important to realize that everything we and our kids do online can be connected together. Not too long ago, I was at a hockey game. And at the hockey game, I chatted with the gentleman sitting next to me. I found out that his name was Roger and that he worked for a bank in Toronto. After the first period, Roger left his seat and went to the souvenir stand to buy some Christmas presents for his son. He returned to his seat with a bag with a jersey in it amongst some other things, and continued for the rest of the hockey game to complain about how expensive the jersey was. The game went into overtime. I stayed, but Roger didn't. And after it concluded, I noticed that Roger had forgotten the bag of souvenirs under his chair, even though he'd done a lot of complaining about it. I felt bad for Roger's son that his Christmas presents were forgotten at the stadium, and decided to take them home with me and see if I could find Roger. I typed Roger's name, the bank he told me he worked for, and Toronto into Google to see what would come up. Sure enough, up came a whole bunch of Facebook, Twitter, and other social media pages connecting to Roger's. It turned out there were an awful lot of them that worked for banks in Toronto. I started clicking through Facebook pages, and as I did, I found one that looked exactly like the guy I was sitting next to at the hockey game. He had all his privacy settings set on Facebook. I couldn't send him a message or share any information with him without knowing what his dog's name was, and we hadn't gotten that personal at the hockey game. I decided to continue my search and start looking at some of the Twitter posts that were shared. And sure enough, I found a Roger working at the same bank that every Thursday night was tweeting that he was taking his son to hockey practice or how his son's hockey team had performed. Some of the Twitter posts even included the name of the hockey team that his son played for. I did another search, for the name of the hockey team that his son was on and Roger's name as well, and sure enough, up came the website for that junior hockey team. A list of all the kids on the team, the arenas that they played at, the dates and times of their games, and even driving directions straight from my house to the arenas, courtesy of Google Maps. The next Thursday night, when the schedule told me that Roger's team was going to be playing at an arena, I traveled there with a bag of souvenirs in hand and returned them to Roger. He had one question for me. He said, "How on earth did you know I was going to be here?" And I said, "Well, Google told me with a little help from Facebook, Twitter, and a couple other websites. And it didn't take me very long." What we really have to realize as parents is that we have to teach our kids that everything that they put out there and everything that anyone else puts there contributes to a path and a set of information that people can follow to find out more about us than we would originally consider.